name is Justin Nard. I'm a junior history major from Evergreen, Alabama, and this is my Social Work 300 midterm project on the Louisiana Slave Database. The Louisiana Slave Database is a collection of data collected from various original manuscripts from 1719 to 1820. These documents and database was compiled by Dr. Hill, and they just provide different facts and statistics on slaves brought to Louisiana from the period of 1719 to 1820. I have 5 charts on my poster, and on my first chart I have the age category of slaves. Most of the slaves brought here are children, so they could grow up, but a large amount of the age category isn't really documented. But that, to me, I think that would mean that they just didn't really care to document it really, or they just skipped over that because they didn't really consider slaves as being true human beings. And then on my second chart in Figure 2, I have the origin of slaves. This origin here, a large amount of the data is undocumented, where the slaves originated from. But the second largest region that the Africans came from were from Africa, of course. And I will conclude that many more slaves were brought to Louisiana from Africa. It's just undocumented. And also that you can see that many Indians were, not many Indians, but a few Indians were enslaved, Creole were enslaved, and people from the Caribbean were enslaved. The sex slaves in Louisiana, the males dominated the females. The males were an astounding 56%. They comprised of 56% of the data. And some of the characteristics of slaves that I found interesting was that the majority of slaves were runaway, and I would think that they didn't really enjoy being in bondage, so they tried to escape at any rate possible. And another characteristic I found that was just intriguing and interesting was that some slaves were documented as being intelligent. That's very interesting, considering that they considered slaves as pure savages, animals, just mere property, and they just took the time out to recognize that a few of the slaves are actually intelligent when there probably were more that could have been documented. And in my 5th chart, it talks about the dealings with runaway slaves. Nearly 95% of the slaves at some point had ran away. The masters that reported them, it was 94.92% of slaves running away, and just a small percentage complained about runaways or had dealings with runaways. But I concluded that majority of slaves, they tried to run away, but they either got caught or the masters brought them back. What I gained from this is that many slaves were brought to Louisiana. I still find it interesting that some slaves were considered intelligent, considering how brutally they were treated. And this information is good for someone who's doing research on Louisiana, or someone who may be searching for the genealogy. And this is pretty much it. All right, thanks.